Today, I thought we'd talk about the DC Universe Superboy figure. Back in the early 90s, comics were not quite as popular as they are today, especially for DC Comics who were going through some dark times. The only way for DC Comics to survive this slump and get back on top was to come up with a storyline that would take the world by storm. It had to be significant, and it had to leave its mark on popular culture, and it certainly did that. If DC Comics were to survive, one of its most beloved characters would have to die: Superman. And that is exactly what happened back in 1992. It was always felt that Superman had no real rival and that his unbelievable strength was making it hard for writers to come up with good storylines and give the Man of Steel a challenge. And so it was felt that Superman should be killed off. And instead of opting for one of Superman's already established villains, DC decided a brand new villain would need to be introduced, and he was called Doomsday. Doomsday made his first appearance in Man of Steel 17 in 1992 as a cameo, punching his way through the earth to the surface with one hand strapped behind his back. And then he would go on to make a full appearance in Man of Steel 18. Doomsday would go on a massive rampage across Midwestern America, and a few members of the Justice League tried in vain to stop the creature, but he easily defeated all of them with literally one hand tied behind his back. Eventually Superman arrived after hearing about this unstoppable creature that was causing so much destruction, but quickly discovered that this would be no easy fight. Doomsday was a match for Superman's great strength, and he was getting stronger and stronger, and his destination was Metropolis. Superman tried in vain to keep Doomsday away from the city, fighting him every step of the way in a tremendous battle that was spread over many comic books, until at last the fight came to an end outside of the Daily Planet building, where an exhausted Superman landed his final blow upon Doomsday. But Doomsday returned the favour by also landing a deathly blow upon Superman, and they both fell to the ground. Superman had done it, he had saved the day once again, when his final blow killed Doomsday. And laying there in Lois Lane's arms, Superman asked if Doomsday was down, and Lois told him, "You have saved us all." And with that, Superman died right there in Lois Lane's arms, outside the Daily Planet building. DC had done it, they had killed off one of the most iconic characters, and it worked. Sales went up through the roof, and it was a multimedia merchandising extravaganza. Back in the 90s, it was a rare thing to see your favourite superhero die for real in a comic book. Nowadays it happens all the time, and you know that they will return at some point. But with Superman, you didn't know he would return. And DC gave us the Reign of Superman storyline, which featured many new characters, and one of those characters was Superboy. Superboy's origins are a little bit up and down, originally rumoured to be a clone of Superman, but then revealed he wasn't a clone but a genetically altered human with certain superpowers that matched Superman, and some that didn't, like telekinesis, and he didn't have the ability to shoot heat vision from his eyes and X-ray vision. Initially he was created at Cadmus, who planned to implement some kind of mind control over him, but he was broken out of the lab by the Newsboy Legion before Cadmus could implant any failsafe. Sporting a very cool suit with a black leather jacket with the iconic S on the back, he initially tried to introduce himself as Superman, but it didn't stick and he became known as Superboy. After the reign of Superman and the return of Superman storylines, which saw Superman return to his own comic book, Superboy would go on to get his own comic book run in 1994, which lasted until 2002. The Superboy comic would feature his own lineup of characters and villains, including the introduction of King Shark. He also appeared in many other comic books such as Superboy and the Ravers and the Young Justice comic book run. Eventually, years later, his X-ray vision and heat vision suddenly started up, and it was revealed that he was actually a clone of Superman, but also Lex Luthor, and he had many other adventures, become more friendly with Superman and received the Kryptonian name Kon-El, and later on the name Connor Kent, and a costume change, and I believe his death happened during Infinite Crisis. Although of course he would return, because in comic books no one remains dead for long. Superboy has also appeared in DC animated movies and the Young Justice TV series, and McFarlane have also done their own version of the classic 1993 Superboy, which I will be buying at some point. I collected Superboy comics for quite some time, but I did eventually walk away from the character, but I always had a love for his origin story, and it was a big part of my childhood. I remember laying awake late at night reading The Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, and then the Return of Superman comic book run. And then I started to collect the Superboy comic book run and fell in love with the character. Like most things I collect, this Superboy figure is a reminder of my childhood. Every time I glance over at my collection and see him, it brings back waves of nostalgia. And if you grow up loving this character, I hope this video did the same for you.